My name is Ken Hooper. I'm currently studying LB 5228, the Changing Business Environment, here at JCU Townsville, and I'd like to discuss with you a global mega trend that we're all familiar with called Amazon.com. Now, Amazon was founded in Washington State, USA, July 5th, 1994, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Bezos. Now, Jeff left a lucrative vice president role in a Wall Street firm by the name of D.E. Shaw & Co. on the lure of the 1990 internet business boom. Jeff started his business in his household garage with the funding of his parents of a mere $250,000. Now, Jeff started up as Catabra and purchased a domain by the name of Relentless.com. This he intended to name his online business. However, feedback from his friends and peers changed his mind, and Amazon was chosen. Now, Amazon was meaningful to Jeff, and there was a strategy behind the name. Amazon was exotic and different. The Amazon River was the largest river in the world, and this is exactly what Jeff intended his online business to be, the largest in the world. Amazon started with A, so alphabetically would be at the top of the list. Jeff knew that online branding needed careful consideration. Online branding was so much more important than branding in the real world. Jeff later read an article that claimed there would be a 2,300% growth in annual web commerce. So, he chose 20 items that he thought would be viable to sell online. These items were then reduced to 5. They included CDs, computer hardware, computer software, videos, and online books. Through further research, Jeff determined that there was a worldwide demand for literature. He saw that the cost of online sales was low, and there was an endless variety of titles to choose from. Hence, Amazon.com became an online bookstore. In July 1995, he began trade. In 2 months, he was selling to 50 US states and 45 countries across the globe. Amazon.com had commenced its globalization process. Within the first 2 months, sales were up to $20,000 a week. In October 1995, the success continued, and the company was announced to the public. Jeff then came across some worrying times. He predicted that his company would not make a profit for the first 4 to 5 years, and this was quite worrying to his shareholders. To compound this, early 21st century, the dot-com bubble burst, and many e-commerce businesses went to the wall. However, Amazon survived. In the fourth quarter 2001, they posted a $5 million profit on a $1 billion turnover. This equated to approximately 1 cent per share. Not a fortune by any means, however, this proved that Jeff's unconventional model can work. In 1997, Amazon consisted of 256 employees. 2019, this had grown to 613,000 employees across the world. This expansion brought wealth and employment in many areas of the globe. However, it brought governance issues to Amazon. One issue they constantly face is wage inequality across their sites. And under constant union and social pressure, Amazon was forced to review the UK and US wages. After review in the UK, the minimum Amazon wage is now 21% above the UK minimum award wage. In the US in 2009, minimum wages were set at $7.25 an hour. Amazon was paying $11 an hour. However, after constant pressure and review, they increased this to $15 an hour for it to be the US minimum wage. Not long after this, Amazon decided to start to lobby the minimum wage in America. This can be seen to be done for a few reasons. One is to try and bring their competitors in line with the wage commitments that Amazon had. And secondly, On a social side, this could be seen to be very acceptable where it showed Amazon to be fighting for the common man. Amazon had an interest in the US community. Amazon was trying to work for the people. Unfortunately, Amazon don't do this all over the world. In India, they are currently paying 15% below the national minimum wage in this country. May 15th, 1997, their initial stock offering made to the Nasdaq Stock Exchange was $18 a share. September 4th, 2018, a record was announced. The share value was $2,050.50 a share. 2004, net revenue was $6.92 billion annually. 14 years later, this had grown to $232.89 billion. Amazon is now classed as a multinational e-commerce company. This is in the way that they have a mother base in the US, where they coordinate the activities and actions of their other locations and companies throughout the world. Amazon has succeeded in globalization via processes of interconnectedness and encouraging interdependence between countries. Being a global online business, interconnectedness is an essential, everyday component of the business, with technologically and internet advances allowing transactions, networking, supply chain, and the supply of goods and services to the customers to happen at any time, anywhere in the world. When Amazon establishes in new countries, other than their parent country, they are encouraging interdependence between countries. An example of this is when they set up in Australia. Australia doesn't have all the manufacturing or technological advances that are required to supply all services and goods that Amazon offer. So, they are encouraged to enter into relations or trade agreements with other countries that can share a mutual benefit by assisting in the manufacturing and supply of technological advances to supply these goods throughout Australia. Amazon have a Prime package which they now offer to 17 countries across the globe. These countries include the likes of Austria, Australia, China, Canada, France, Singapore, Spain, and of course the UK and US, to name a few. This expansion can be attributed to internationalization. How, you ask? Well, the US market could be seen to eventually be saturated. So, you need to increase your market. Looking abroad, they saw the potential to export these products to set up bases in other places and supply their goods and services across the world. Each location, however, has its own dimension, and these need to be considered. By dimension, I mean political, economic, social, and technological cultures. These need to be considered before entering this market. Amazon must determine if the local government is stable and accepting of foreign investment. The region must be economically viable, with controlled inflation, acceptable taxation, and of course a strong currency. Social acceptance in the way of equality of employment, religious and cultural groups, as well as population age, gender, and distribution must be considered. And finally, technological advancement, their coverage, development of skilled labour, and the commitment of the government to the spending in this area. Businesses such as Amazon encounter many governance challenges, be it business to business, employee related, or, as Amazon is a global company, home-based and international related issues. They must ensure they are constantly up to date with local and foreign legislation to ensure all actions, financially or socially, are internally governed so as to abide by trading rules and regulations in all parts of the world. May 12th, 1997. A rival company by the name of Barnes & Noble sued Amazon for their claim to be the world's largest bookstore. Barnes & Noble claimed that this was false. They were a book broker, not a bookstore. Now, this was settled out of court, and Amazon still stand by this claim today. This shows that Amazon is very conscious about the statements that they make into the community. October 16th, 1998, Walmart sues, claiming that Amazon has stolen trade secrets by employing some of their former executives. This also settled out of court, however, had a different result for Amazon. Amazon was forced to implement internal restrictions and staff reassignment so as to resolve this conflict. The USA federal government is also investing Amazon for potentially violating US sanctions against Iran. Between January 2012 and June 2017, Amazon sold and delivered nearly $25,000 worth of merchandise to an Iranian embassy outside of Iran, and another $8,100 to individuals with ties to the Iranian government. Now, this shows that legislation and laws from the motherland are enforceable and must be adhered to in all areas of trade they perform across the globe. This shows an example where even though Amazon is located throughout the world, Amazon's home base is in the US. They must abide by these international laws and all bilateral treaties. Amazon has FDI issues to consider throughout the world in different countries where they expand into different international markets. An example is India, as they introduced new FDI laws early 2019. Amazon initially stated they believed these rules would impact on both sellers and buyers in the e-commerce sector, maybe hoping to deter these new rules. One example was to include restrictions on e-commerce businesses from exclusive deals with companies, relating an ability to sell at deep discounts. This was being very unfair to offline businesses. Another example was a restriction to 25% supply from a single vendor, especially one they had a stake in. This would allow a wider range of business between different businesses within India and encourage economic growth within the country. Once these rules were determined, Amazon then had 40 days to comply. These rules were introduced to safeguard offline businesses that were being affected by these e-commerce trends. These rules would potentially affect Amazon with regards to their supply chains and their selling trends. Hence, their overall business model needed to be adapted in India. For India, there have been benefits with regards to the gain of employment, government revenue, technology advances. While implementing these rules, they are also protecting their local businesses and investors by controlling the actions of foreign businesses, while still encouraging a healthy growth and relationship between Amazon.com and the Indian government. In conclusion, Amazon.com started with the vision of one man who saw the potential of e-commerce and took this idea to develop one of the largest, most profitable online businesses in the world. Jeff Bezos achieved globalization. He achieved interconnectedness. He also encouraged independence between countries while making the decisions to implement internationalism. He strategically planned each step from the name, determining what customers wanted, developing technology and supply chains throughout the world to provide the goods and services while maintaining a healthy profit. Ensuring markets were sustainable and accepting to his business model, while working with local governments and communities, providing employment, wealth, technological advancements, and customer satisfaction. He ensured he abided by corporate and government rules and regulations, not just in his home country, but internationally, so as to maintain and improve legal and social reputation of his brand. Ensuring strong national and international relationships are key to success. Overall, he showed that one man's vision, created in his home garage, can build the concept to be the largest, strongest, most exotic, the Amazon of the e-commerce world. Thank you.